radio check.
As we wait now for the light to come on, we have Emerson Fittipaldi on pole position for Ferrari. And let's see, the green light comes on and Emerson Fittipaldi does seem to have a good start with Ayrton Senna in second now. And then third comes through Kazuyoshi Hoshino, goes past Alain Prost, I believe. And then behind them is Keiji Matsumoto. But Emerson Fittipaldi with a good getaway, but Ayrton Senna right on his gearbox, as there's now a bit of a gap between them and Kazuyoshi Hoshino. Emerson Fittipaldi so far with a really good race start here in Monaco. And as we now head down into chicane, Senna still on the back of Fittipaldi. The distance you see there, Hoshino, Prost, Matsumoto, Teo Fabi. It seems the Ferrari is looking strong here at Monaco. Had a really good qualifying session with Fittipaldi having a clear gap to P2 being Ayrton Senna. You can see now already how big the gap is getting. They are streaking away, but still a big train, of course. And now let's take a look back here. You see Hoshino now pulling slightly away from Alain Prost, so Hoshino doing a good job now under the new management of Justin Dijkstra. It seems like Ligier has brought some upgrades for the Monaco Grand Prix here, and they are paying off. Mika Hakkinen not having the best qualifying session. Obviously, we know Hakkinen had that great run at the Imola Grand Prix, where he got a first podium position in Formula 1. Mika Hakkinen does look shape up really well. But Hoshino now running really nicely. And they come round to the last corner. Take a look further back now. Roberto Moreno, I think, started P8, is now in P9. And the Aero squad pretty close together, so P9 and P10 so far for Moreno and Johansson. They've been struggling with the reliability in the first couple of rounds, so let's hope they can get those issues sorted. And let's just hope they have a better race so far, even though their finishing positions have been somewhat okay. Obviously, they're hoping their cars will make it till the end. Not looking too bad here. Roberto Moreno latching onto the back of Mario Andretti in front. Obviously, we know Monaco here, tight and twisty, so it will be really hard to overtake for any of the competitors. And you will see just a lot of single files throughout the race. But you might see a move here or there if one of the drivers gets a really good run out of some corners. You can try and make a move, even though it is very tight here at Monaco. Now let's look further back here. René Arnoux in 12th position. So again, Benetton not having the best of times, but see now Kazuyoshi Hoshino reportedly has a bit of a problem here, and yes, he does. Pits are calling for him to get back, but it seems like it is a bit of a throttle issue here for Hoshino, so like he might not be able to pick up the throttle as well as he'd like, and you can see now the terrain forming behind him. So Matsumoto will come past here, Teo Fabi. Bit of a shame for Hoshino because he was running really well, so he should be able to come into the pits and stop, of course, to get that issue solved, but it does mean that he will have lost out a heap of time, and he will have to do an extra pit stop compared to most of the runners here, I think. You can see now more traffic coming through. You have Michael Andretti. You have Rene Arnoux now coming through. You also have Al Unser Jr. Hoshino now, yeah, pulling into the pits, and he will try to get that issue resolved. So let's see now, that has kind of split up the field a little bit. So far, all of our competitors running pretty closely together. The entire split of the field was about 2.5 seconds in between all the competitors, so not that big of a gap between first and last place. But so far, Emerson Fittipaldi still leading, has built up a bit of a gap now to Ayrton Senna. So Senna now hoping to have a better run after those first 2 races. Obviously, we know it's been a double DNF for Lotus for the first 2 races, and obviously after the championship, or after them having a really good year last year, I should say, they are looking to build on that, of course, but haven't had the best of times so far. And let's just hope that Lotus can get their cars till the end of the race. Similar to Ferrari, they've had some reliability issues as well, and the car hasn't looked as competitive everywhere. But here at Monaco, the car is definitely going well, and Fittipaldi slowly extending that gap. We have Nelson Piquet here. Obviously, Benetton still heavily scrutinized because of the illegal parts they were running, and also once the parts got removed, they had a bit of a drop in performance. But Nelson Piquet still doing a decent job here in P6 in the point-paying positions, trying to chase down Teo Fabi. But he will have quite a big of a deficit on the straightaway, even though at Monaco it doesn't matter that much. There's still gonna be a inherent difference between the 2 cars, and Teo Fabi, on any straight there is, he will be able to slightly gap Nelson Piquet, and then obviously throughout the corners you can see here how tight it is at Monaco. There's not much you can do here without risking yourself in the car. And pacing in 7th we have Mario Andretti. A bit out of position if we compare to the first 2 races. He's down in 7th outside of the points. We've seen the Minardi usually being pretty quick over 1 lap. Maybe the car not faring too great here, or some of the other cars just went a different direction in upgrading compared to Minardi. We haven't really seen any new aero features on the car that I can recall, at least, compared to the last rounds. While we've seen other other teams coming with new rear wing designs, front wings, maybe even floors, even though that's harder to determine, of course. But yeah, Minardi obviously the biggest weakness in their arsenal right now is reliability, and so maybe they have been focused on trying to get that in order. So obviously we will see, as Minardi has had some issues throughout their races. But obviously they had that great win on the opening round with Mario Andretti picking up a victory. Yeah, it will be interesting to see if they can also last throughout the race. And obviously we do have Keiji Matsumoto in 4th place there. And definitely one to watch here, because Keiji did a good job here, getting himself up to P4 and not too far behind the likes of Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. I see Theo Fabi still here, being chased down by Nelson Piquet, but I do want to look further back here as we see Al Unser Jr. in the thick of it in P12, as the Toru Nakajima behind him. Toru Nakajima not having the best qualifying sessions, it seems. And it won't help, of course, that you have a bad qualifying session at Monaco. Of all tracks, you don't want it to happen at Monaco, because it is so hard to pass. But Al Unser, going slightly defensive here, it seems. He's trying to hold back Satoru Nakajima. Obviously, you know that the Tyrrell car is not quite as good as the Lotus when it comes to pace. So Unser doing his best to keep that Lotus behind him. Doing a fine job so far. We have Ivan Capelli again down in 14th. So one of the McLaren drivers all the way up in P2 in the form of Alain Prost. And it is obviously Ivan Capelli came in to swap out for David Brabham. It seems Pedro Diaz thought David Brabham just wasn't living up to his potential, and decided to get Ivan Capelli to drive the car instead. And well, Ivan Capelli not quite up to scratch yet, but obviously he might still be getting used to the car, so there's definitely potential there, I'd say. And now a bit of an issue here. Stefan Johansson reporting brake problems. So having a hard time pulling his car down. Maybe he got something stuck in the brakes or in one of the calipers, but yeah, you can see now slowing down there, and Al Unser Jr. Satoru Nakajima right on the back, onto the back of him. Might be stuck for a little while longer here through the last section. But, Johansson trying to make it back to the pits, and he does so. And he does manage to get inside of the pits. And now we have a big train here, led by Al Unser Jr. So Al Unser Jr. moves up into P11, just outside of that top 10. And he is still being chased down by Nakajima. Nakajima right on his gearbox. They're gonna head through the casino complex. And the flowing hairpins that lead into the tunnel, of course. Bit of a straightaway there, but usually not enough to for anyone to challenge the car in front. Al Unser Jr. doing a good job, and his teammate Michael Andretti, of course, doing an even better job up in P9. So the Tyrrell squad results have been mixed, but overall they're performing pretty well. It's not likely they're going to be at the front end of the field anytime soon, but they're hanging in there. They're doing bits, so Michael Andretti definitely helping for that purpose. Now let's take a look back here. Kazuyoshi Hoshino is trying to chase down the Williams here of Jeff Lees and Jeff Brabham. And the Williams just doesn't look like Williams is heading anywhere soon here. Seems like a poor year for Williams so far, and they're gonna have to do an incredible job with their development should they want to put any type of challenge up to the midfield, I think. Hoshino now trying his best. Let's see on this next straightaway heading into the tunnel if he can do something. Does get a bit of overspeed, but if it's enough, we don't know. Moves to the inside. Oh, he is gonna try and make a move. Kind of scares Jeff Lees into a mistake there, so really well done by Hoshino actually. As Lees makes a small mistake going into the chicane. And that moves Hoshino back up into 18th, but there'll be an uphill battle for Hoshino as it is so hard to overtake here. And this next target will be Jeff Brabham. They head through turn 1. It seems Jeff Brabham going slightly defensive there, and actually Hoshino might have a good run here. No. Decides to not stick his nose up the inside there. Barely fit 2 cars on that little straight after turn 1, so likely that one of them will end up in the barrier if they do decide to go side by side. Meanwhile, we have Rene Arnoux now inside of the top 10. Not doing a bad job at all. But I'm sure Benetton isn't quite up to pace of where they'd like to be. Meanwhile, though, Roberto Moreno doing a very good job here in P8, even though his teammate Johansson had issues and is now down in P22. Moreno still going strong here in P8. Not quite able to follow the likes of Andretti and Piquet in front, but he's on a higher fuel load. We'll have to see how the pit stops play out later in the race. Meanwhile, then the second Ferrari of Theo Fabi doing really good. He's up in P5, so Theo Fabi definitely a good second driver to Emerson Fittipaldi. And it looks that Ferrari has a pretty nicely balanced squad here, with Emerson being able to fight for those top 3 positions, and then Fabi lining up pretty closely, you know, now in P5, so only 4 positions behind. And as long as Ferrari manages to get both of their drivers in the points here today, they'll move up the constructor standings quite a bit, as obviously we had 2 different winners. The first race went to Mario Andretti in Jaracapagua in Brazil, and the second race in Imola went to Alain Prost. So today here. We might see a third different winner, I should say. You know, another different winner. That would be nice to see. But, I have a feeling the battle for the Constructor Championship and the Driver Championship might be really close here this year. There's sometimes really a toss-up of who will make it to the finish line. But yeah, Theo Fabi doing a decent job so far. And let's check in with Emerson Fittipaldi. He does seem to be still going very well, about 4.5 seconds ahead of his nearest competitor, Ayrton Senna. And we are about 14 laps in. Doing very nicely, that Ferrari going well on this track. Looking very nimble and good through these tight and twisty sections. So yeah, Ferrari really seems to be suited to this track. Obviously, it would be very good to have the first win of the season be at Monaco, even though a lot of people claim it's not good for racing. It is considered to be one of the more prestigious wins you can get in F1. And I'm sure Emerson Fittipaldi will think the same if he makes it across the finish line here today in first place. Yeah, so far doing really well. And then to the back of the field here, Nigel Mansell just got overtaken by Stefan Johansson, it seems. So Johansson slowly fighting his way back up the field, but you can see there in front, if you spot it in the foreground, Kazuyoshi Hoshino still behind Jeff Brabham in the Williams. So even though the Ligier is supposed to be a significantly better car than the Williams, you can see how much trouble Hoshino has in getting through the field, and might be a similar story here for Johansson. He'll have a hard time getting past Cheever, so hopefully for Johansson he can get a couple of clean laps once the pit window arrives, because obviously he has now filled up his car again, and he might be able to go a bit longer, so he might be able to do an overcut for the second pit stop he does. We can see now this little train forming here. And as they go through the harbor, don't have cameras positioned the best there, but you can see here Jeff Brabham just trying to hold on and trying to hold Hoshino back, but in the meanwhile you can see the train that's forming behind him. He's at the front with Hoshino behind, then Jeff Lees, then Eddie Cheever, then Stefan Johansson, and then Nigel Mansell. So really close battle at the rear here, which is something you don't see a lot, actually. Rare to see a battle so far at the back, but obviously a couple of cars now offset because of issues early on. And let's see now, let's follow Hoshino through as they go through the hairpins here. And then down to the seaside. Let's see if Hoshino can get a better run here. And he is quite close, so you could possibly see a move here. Let's see. Will he move? He moves to the outside. He tries it. Oh, bit of a bump there and lock up. Oh! Jeff Brabham there going over the curb, but no damage. But man, that was quite violent, and hopefully Jeff Brabham doesn't have any damage, but it seems like he's carrying on fine. But that was, man, that was a spine breaker if I've ever seen one. And yeah, Hoshino might have to be careful here, even though it seemed like maybe an honest mistake with a bit of a lockup. I could incentivize the marshals to give a penalty. Here, Stefan Johansson as well, still stuck behind Eddie Cheever. So the March squad not having the best of times. Obviously in 20 and 22. So yeah, March not having the greatest of times right now, and yeah, the design of the car really not paying off so far. But hopefully they can come good in some of the other races. And obviously, as we've seen, attrition can promote some of these cars up quite far. Meanwhile, a team we haven't really featured, Thierry Boutsen and Patrick de Boel for Zach Speed for Edison. They've just been running their race in 15th and 16th. No real big issue. Let's see. I think a bit of a mistake from Hoshino as he drops back to the back of the field. So Hoshino now undone all of his work and has to make up for the entirety again. So he'll have to climb back up that mountain. And yeah, it's gonna be tough for the rest of the race here as we are on lap 18. Even Capelli in 13th, Satoru Nakajima 12th. Alancer Jr. still holding position in 11th as he is trying to get closer to Rene Arnoux. Then let's see if we possibly have a battle heating up between Theo Fabi and Nelson Piquet. Doesn't look like it. Theo Fabi doing a good job in 5th here. And managed to gap Nelson Piquet a little bit. And in front of them we have Keiji Matsumoto. So it does seem Minardi has looked really strong over the past races, the past 2 races, and now in this 3rd one. They're still looking strong, but not quite having the edge like in the other 2 races, as they were able to challenge for that win purely on pace. But on the streets of Monaco, they're struggling a little bit more, it seems. But nevertheless, of course, Keiji Matsumoto's still doing a really good job. You know, there's 4th place is a good place to be in, picking up some points for the team. Obviously, I think maybe Martijn de Knecht will want Mario Andretti here to get inside the points as well, which would be great for Minardi. He is right on the cusp of them, chasing down Nelson Piquet, or at least trying to. And obviously it's always a big if, because we don't really know what fuel load every car is running, and we will have to see until the pit stops how everything plays out. We might see some cars going longer, some cars going a bit shorter and trying to get that fresh rubber on as fast as they can. And obviously the Minardi, known to be really fast in the straight line, which is something we can't quite use here at Monaco. Not quite a long enough straight to really be able to utilize that horsepower advantage that Minardi undoubtedly has. So let's take a lap or 2 on board here with our leader Emerson Fittipaldi for Ferrari. Oh, big issues now. We have to cut back here to Eddie Cheever, and might have been an accident there between Eddie Cheever and Stefan Johansson, because Johansson is out, and now Eddie Cheever pulls over to the side as well. So on lap 21, we have our first casualties. Eddie Cheever seems to be going out with a water leak there. If you see the cars now coming by. Luckily, he's pulled off in a fairly safe position there, as he's off the racing line. But Stefan Johansson as well, getting caught up somewhere. I'm not sure if this was the same instance, but Stefan Johansson making an early exit as well here today on lap 21 or 22. They now hoist Eddie Cheever's car across the barrier. Now we see here Alain Prost. And now as well, Nigel Mansell, goes over the curb as well. With Kazuyoshi Hoshino chasing him down. Bit of a mistake there for Nigel Mansell, but it does seem like he was fine after that. And Al Unser Jr. still trying to chase down the top 10 here with Rene Arnoux in front and Nakajima behind him. Ayrton Senna still in second, trying to chase down Emerson Fittipaldi, but at this stage, Fittipaldi is looking pretty dominant here today. And has already managed to get about a 7-second lead in about 23 laps. Mansell here still holding back Hoshino. At this point, you're wondering, is it even worth fighting for? Because the march does seem fairly slow here today. With one car already out. I can only hope that Nigel Mansell makes it till the end, but it's gonna be a tough fight, that's for sure. You can see the spectators up there. They have a really nice view here onto the track. Obviously, it'd be really nice for all the people that have apartments here. And again, bit of an issue there for Nigel Mansell as he makes another mistake going into the chicane, and now Hoshino right on his gearbox. But I do believe that's already our leader coming through there. Yes, it is. Emerson Fittipaldi catching up to the rear of the field now. So he will be onto the back of Hoshino and Mansell in no time here, and let's hope we can get this lapping done safely. But Fittipaldi has run a good race, so should be able to get through pretty neatly. And I assume Hoshino and Mansell won't be giving Fittipaldi too much of a hard time, as they will realize that they are so far behind it's not even worth fighting to keep him behind. See them now, still nose to gearbox, the both of them. And yeah, Fittipaldi just catching up at a rapid rate. As they now, all three of them head down into the tunnel, down to the chicane. They'll see Hoshino glued to that gearbox, but just unable to find a way through. Emerson Fittipaldi now closing up more and more and more. Very close now, so surely this is where Hoshino will most likely let him through, I assume. Not so far, I guess, so hopefully Fittipaldi obviously wishing that, and hoping that he doesn't lose out too much time here, trying to get past these two. They head into the tight and twisty section, and here we go. Fittipaldi now moving up onto the inside of Hoshino. Hoshino just lets him through. Very well done. And now the next one to overtake here will be Nigel Mansell. As you can see in the background there, Ayrton Senna has gained a little bit of time. Let's see now if Emerson is able to come through past. Yes, he will get past Nigel Mansell. Oh, Nigel Mansell with a little bit of a mistake, nearly putting Emerson Fittipaldi into the barrier there as he understeered off of that curb, but Fittipaldi through now. Past Mansell and Hoshino. So at lap 25, Emerson Fittipaldi has lapped the back two cars. And Alain Prost, after his victory at Imola, doing a very decent job here. And oh, bit of an issue there as Hoshino came past Nigel Mansell. Nigel maybe squeezed into the barrier a bit, or just making a bit of a mistake as Mansell hasn't had the best of times here today. Doing well so far, but yeah, Alain Prost after his victory at Imola doing a really good job as well here in P3, which I'm sure team manager Pedro Diaz will be pleased with to see. Obviously, he's hoping for another clean race here today and picking up some more points and solidifying that constructor championship lead and also a driver championship lead, I believe, for McLaren. And Roberto Moreno is still in P8 here, so one of the only remaining arrows now, as Stefan Johansson is out. Bit of a shame that, because it did seem that the arrows were running good, and now bit of an issue here. Satoru Nakajima reported to have a loose wheel, so question is where would that loose wheel come from? Is it maybe part of a suspension failure issue, or is it literally just a one of the bolts that came loose from attaching the wheel? That's a curious thing, but let's see if he we'll follow him through here, and let's see if he can make it back to the pits, as he's not sure if he's inside the pit window yet, but it's gonna be close, I think. So we'll have to watch that. But Nakajima, oh no, he's gonna pull over now. So again, one of the Lotuses pulling over to the side of the track, and that will be another retirement for Lotus here today at Monaco. So Nakajima not able to make it back to the pits to solve that issue, and they will hoist him over the barriers as well. Yeah, Lotus really has some work to do. Oh, and as we say that, not again for Lotus. Another retirement. So 3 double DNFs for Lotus. And yeah, just a rough time here for Lotus, as Senna has pulled off in the chicane. Lotus just not living up to the expectations right now. We were well, it was reported that Lotus was gonna challenge for the championship, but at this rate, I don't see them challenging anytime soon. With now, I'm pretty sure they have the worst reliability record so far throughout the entire grid. So fairly quick car, Lotus, but yeah, your car has to make it till the end, and they're not able to do that so far. We now are on lap 28 of 78. So, we're getting towards that halfway stage, even though that's still quite a few laps away, but we are getting there. And Alain Prost now inheriting second place, which will be even better for McLaren, of course. Emerson Fittipaldi still in the lead, and a commanding lead at that, as Theo Fabi has now also, of course, moved into P4, so this will be really good for Ferrari if they manage to make it till the end. Right now we have 18 runners remaining. It does seem the field is running quite a bit better than the previous two races, so it seems a lot of the teams have invested in reliability, and so far it seems to be paying off. But knock on wood. And Keiji Matsumoto now also, of course, inside the podium positions. Emerson still leading the front. He will now come through some more traffic in the form of Jeff Branham and Jeff Lees. So the two Jeffs for Williams. And Emerson now looking to get past them in as swift of a manner as he can, probably. And obviously Keiji Matsumoto looking at Alain Prost in front of him there. So Renardi not too far behind McLaren here today. But they're obviously the two constructors fighting for the championship at this point in time, but looking at how the standings are now, if the race would finish the way it is right now, Ferrari will be right up into that fight as well, as Emerson now making his way past the first Jeff, which is Jeff Lees. Take a quick look at comparing lap times. So Keiji Matsumoto with a 128.366 last lap, and Alain Prost with a 28.512. So actually, Prost might be, or Matsumoto might be a little bit faster than Prost, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to warrant an overtake at any point in time, but you know, promising for Minardi. And then at the front you see Emerson Fittipaldi with a 128.089. So yeah, Emerson Fittipaldi really in a class of his own today here in Monaco, and deservedly in the lead, as he's just pumping in fast lap times. Slight lock up there from Fittipaldi. That's the first mistake we've seen from him, but that's the only one. Then it'll be a really good race for him. Has gotten through the traffic now. Might have been slightly put out of his rhythm by having to overtake that. Oh, big mistake there. Mika Hakkinen gets a bit loose over the curbs in the fast section, the fast swimming pool section there, but manages to keep it out of the barriers, Mika Hakkinen, and can carry on. As the two Zach speeds behind him, slight gap, but we now have Hoshino trying up the inside of Jeff Lees, but there is just no room. As, oh no, Jeff Lees! It seems the suspension gave up through that section there. Obviously, It's quite bumpy throughout there, and ooh, he's in a bit of a dangerous position there with traffic coming through. But a suspension failure for Jeff Lees here for Williams, and again, Williams also one of those teams that is struggling to find pace and reliability, and hopefully the marshals can clear up Lee's car here fairly soon, as he's in a precarious position here. Yeah, they will manage now, so swift work from the marshals there, and the race will be able to continue. So down to 17 runners now. Now Keiji Matsumoto also making his way through the lapped cars as he goes past Nigel Mansell. But yeah, March struggling here today for pace. They're trying their best, but just yeah, the car design really doesn't seem to do them any favors here today. So seems like it will be a season of struggles for them, as Nigel Mansell makes another little mistake there. Yeah, just not having the best of times. Doesn't seem the March car works particularly well at this track. So, bit of a struggle here today. Meanwhile, Alain Prost still solidly in that second position with Keiji Matsumoto 3 or so seconds behind. Actually, yeah, down to under 3 seconds, 2.8 seconds. So Matsumoto slowly but surely making his way up to Alain Prost. But even if he gets up to Alain Prost, the question is, of course, if he can even make a pass, because here at Monaco, pretty difficult. Emerson still at the front, heading through the tunnel. Very solid lead, and down into the chicane here. Big braking zone over the curb. Past all the beautiful yachts in the harbor. See now Keiji Matsumoto really pushing that Minardi, trying to get and catch up to the back of Alain Prost. Alain Prost just trying to maintain that gap, but it is ebbing and flowing, and it seems pace is pretty matched for both Matsumoto and Prost. Meanwhile, Patrick de Wolf the Zach speeds here. Similar story to the last few races, I think. They've just been running in that midfield and picking up the position as the attrition kind of picks off the cars in front. But you know, they've run pretty solid throughout all of the races and managed to do some good work, as that is now also Theo Fabi, I think, coming past the march of Nigel Mansell. And PK as well as Mansell again with a bit of a mistake as the traffic comes through. But his race is about as far down as it can be, I think. And Mika Hakkinen again with a bit of a lockup there, I think. So the rookie that had his podium last race, not having the best of times now in P12. Obviously still very promising, and the Looks like the Ligier might not be working as well here today. Obviously, we did see Hoshino up in P4 at one point, so I guess the potential is there for the car, but just not the best luck here today, I guess, for Ligier. Oh, big mistake there for Mario Andretti, so bit of a lock up there for Andretti as he saw maybe he came up to the back of Nigel Mansell there a bit too quick and didn't expect him there, perhaps. Baldi heading through the last sequence of corners, on his way to start lap 36, pulling a bigger and bigger gap. It looked like pace-wise, the only car that could possibly challenge Fittipaldi was Ayrton Senna here, but obviously Lotus dropping out once again has eliminated any sort of battle on that front. And Rene Arnoux now with a couple of the DNFs has managed to put himself up into P9, and obviously, crucially, Nelson Piquet up to P5, and also the second Minardi of Mario Andretti is now also inside of the points. So Mario Andretti now coming past Nigel Mansell. So that is P6 lapping the back of the field. Matteo Fabi heading through the tunnel. You can see a lot of bumps there just before that tunnel. And there's a lot of bumps scattered throughout this course. So really a test of the suspension and the chassis of the car. The Ferrari doing really well, and Teo Fabi only about 6 or so seconds behind Matsumoto, so still in contentions, I'd say, for the podium. It's doing a very solid job so far. Prost now 3 or so seconds in front of Matsumoto, so has managed to slightly increase the gap to Matsumoto behind. And yeah, so he's now coming up to the back of Jeff Brabham in the Williams. So Jeff getting lapped now by Prost. And soon it will be Matsumoto coming through as well. You know, Prost having a bit of an issue ahead there, getting past Brabham. So hopefully he can get past him fairly soon. He does now. Not in the most convenient position to get through, but got through nevertheless. You can see Keiji Matsumoto closing up as well, so he will have the same task, trying to get through. We're in lap 38 of 78, so 40 more laps to go. We're right about halfway. And bad news from the back of the field, even though it couldn't get much worse for Nigel Mansell at this point, as he's already running at the back. Now reporting a water leak, as we can see the smoke billowing out the back of that car now as Roberto Moreno comes through. I'm not sure if Mansell will be able to make it back to the pits, as you can see the fluids squirting out of the back of that March car. Now heads into the chicane, but yeah, he is gonna pull off here to the outside of the chicane, so I think nowhere is really an ideal position to pull off here at Monaco, but he is somewhat off the racing line, so the marshals will clear up the car pretty fast here before Al Unser Jr. and Rene Arnoux and George come through. You can see now the Tyrrells have slowly moved themselves up, and Michael Andretti in 8th, Al Unser Jr. in 10th, so both Tyrrell cars inside of the top 10. Not a bad feat. So Al Unser Jr., one of the first cars to get the pit call here today. So Al Unser Jr. looking to do a bit of an undercut to the other cars, which might actually pay off, because he's catching up to the back of Rene Arnoux. So if he has a bit of clean air, he might be able to get a fresh set of rubber on, and then he will be able to run quite a bit faster than Rene Arnoux in front. We also see Emerson Fittipaldi now getting that same pit call. So let's see here if we can follow Al Unser into the pits. Obviously, he will come in, put in a fresh set of tires, and then also refuel the car for the rest of the race. So he pulls in here. Very short pit lane here, as you can see. Crew's standing right by for tow already. So tires off, new tires on, and just wait till the fuel fills up. Holding. See here, gonna drop it any second. Obviously needs quite a bit of fuel to get to the end, but oh, that was the worst possible timing there for Al Unser Jr. Emerson Fittipaldi was just coming into the pits, and obviously the car in the fast lane has the right of way, so he had to give way, unfortunately, to Emerson Fittipaldi, and that will lose him some crucial seconds there. Let's now check in with Emerson Fittipaldi as he comes out of the pits, and in front of him will be Keiji Matsumoto there. Has a nice bit of clean air in front of him now, so really make use of those tires and push on. Yeah, let's hope for Michael Andretti that Emerson Fittipaldi coming in there at the same time didn't really... Obviously he has lost a bit of time there, but let's hope it wasn't too much for him to lose position. Now Emerson Fittipaldi will surely be flying on these new tires. And see, he's catching up at a rate of naught to Matsumoto. And that means Alain Prost is now in the lead. Up until the pit stop, of course. See now Nelson Piquet coming through as well on Jeff Brabham. Mika Hakkinen now also in the pit. Obviously already lost some time having to pit earlier on. And is now outside of the pit, so he won't quite fall back to the back of the field, but not too far off of it. And Hoshino now also getting his pit called, so yeah, Hoshino not being able to make it to the end, even with that earlier pit stop there, to fix his issues. Matsumoto and Prost being caught at a really rapid race here. Emerson Fittipaldi, I think, catching by about a second or even more a lap. So yeah, Emerson, it will be really beneficial as well because he's catching up to Matsumoto, but by the time he gets up to the back of him, Matsumoto is gonna pit, so it shouldn't be too much of a time loss for Fittipaldi. Now we see pit calls all over the field. Michael Andretti also getting one. And Alain Prost's, you know, wanting to stick it out. Holding on so far, so Alonso Jr. now in the pits. And Keiji Matsumoto will come in here as well. You can see him pulling off as Emerson Fittipaldi is right onto his gearbox. So yeah, perfect timing there for the Ferrari squad. Very good for Machihila, or Machihila, sorry. Matsumoto coming in, Andretti now getting the pit call. The other Andretti, Mario Andretti for Minardi. Oh, big mistake there but from Fittipaldi. Bit of a lockup and heads up into the barrier. Let's check if he has any damage. The car looks fine. That definitely was a tap on the barriers. He seems alright. Getting away with a bit of a scare there, Emerson Fittipaldi. And let's hope he can focus up and get this car across the finish line after those 78 laps. Doing a good job so far as he's now coming up to the back of, I think that is Mika Hakkinen, so more lap traffic for Fittipaldi. Now Theo Fabi doing a very good job as well with Nelson Piquet behind him. Both Fabi and Piquet not pitting yet, but oh, transmission issue now for Williams. As Jeff Brabham unfortunately pulls off to the side there, and that will be a double DNF here today for the Williams squad. So again, Williams just having a poor start of the year and continuing here at the Monaco Grand Prix, as they will hoist the car over and to safety. Very unfortunate for the Williams squad. Fittipaldi now getting up to the lap traffic here of I think, let's see who that is. Is that Hoshino or Hakkinen? I think it is Hakkinen. And then it will be Alain Prost in front of him, I believe. But yeah, Emerson already caught up to the back of Alain Prost, and Alain still has to make a pit. So again, showing how dominant Fittipaldi is here today. Oh, and now a transmission issue as well for Mika Hakkinen. So Hakkinen pulling off. See if we can find him here. Yeah, so as Fittipaldi came through to lap Hakkinen, he has also dropped out with a transmission issue there. Well, a lot of dropouts in the past few laps here. Second half of the race, and now Roberto Moreno is inside the points, but is once he does come into the pits, he will be He will be dropped down the order, I believe. As you can see there, Keiji Matsumoto behind him. He's already going to overtake him, and then Mario Andretti is probably also going to come through. And he will also be overtaken by Teo Fabi, possibly. So, Moreno doing a good job, but the Aero's not quite up to the same pace of the likes of McLaren, Minardi, and Ferrari. Definitely a very decent job by the Aero squad. And now here, Emerson Fittipaldi right onto the back of Alain Prost. Surely Emerson will be thinking now for Prost just to get in the pit, get out of his way, as he's on a much faster tire right now. The compound is the same, but you can see throughout the corners how much Fittipaldi is gaining, as he's on the fresher tire, of course. We do think the horsepower numbers of these cars are fairly similar. So that won't be too big of an issue, as Nelson Piquet now running in a solid P3 as he gets his pit call. That will also drop him down a couple of positions, but still in a good position to pick up some points here today. And let's now take a look back at Alain Prost. But yeah, Nelson Piquet getting a pit call, Roberto Moreno now also getting the pit call, so after that we can kind of see how the field will shape up after everyone's done their pit stops. Still have some of the runners having to pit, being René Arnoux, Capelli, and the Wolf, but I say that seems Capelli has a bit of an issue. So Capelli reporting an issue, yes, and smoke and fire billowing out the back of the McLaren. Big white smoke plume, and you can see fire there in the engine bay. Hopefully Capelli can pull it over here somewhere and get out of the car quickly, as he's now lost all engine power. Oh, it's in a dangerous spot of the track, but he does his best trying to put the car as much off of the racing line as he can. As some of the cars now come through, Capelli will unfortunately have to retire here today with an oil leak, and not the best for McLaren. But yeah, hope the marshals can clear off this car off of the track pretty soon here. So Alain Prost now seemingly have had a good pit stop, going past his teammate there stranded, and he's actually gained quite a bit of time on Matsumoto in the pits, it seems. So solid by the McLaren squad, solid pit stop, I think, as Capelli is now cleared off of the track. And Prost now still solidly in P2, and we'll see over the next couple of laps if he is able to close in the gap on Fittipaldi, but I doubt it. If you see the gap now, 24 or so seconds for Fittipaldi, it's very unlikely that Alain Prost will be able to do something here today. So 30 laps remaining now for Emerson Fittipaldi. And doing a very good job so far, as now René Arnoux gets called into the pits. That means there's only 2 more cars that have to pit, which is René Arnoux for Benetton and Patrick de Wolf for Zach Speed. And now you can see here, it does seem Michael Andretti has lost a bit of time with being held up by Fittipaldi coming into pits, as his teammate has now caught up to him. Both of the Tyrrells here not quite having the best of days, so they're running solidly, but obviously I assume team manager Yomi would like a little bit more out of the drivers and the car. It does seem the Tyrrell isn't quite as comfortable around Monaco as it was on the previous tracks, and obviously they've relied a little bit on the reliability of the other cars to drop out in front of them. Which, there hasn't been as many retirements so far as in the last 2 rounds. I do know most of the teams have brought pretty significant upgrade packages, and they're coming into fruition now. Now Patrick the Wolf, as he's being called into the pit, he's hounded by the 2 Tyrrells. They're rearing to get through and chase down René Arnoux and the Benetton in front. Oh, Patrick the Wolf heading through the tight and twisty section here at the end of the lap. He's gonna come around the right bend and pull into the pits. Yes, he does. And now Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. will be unleashed to chase down René Arnoux. Again, the camera's not ideal in this last sector. We have Alain Prost now heading through it. It seems the gap is staying somewhat even to Emerson Fittipaldi, with 28 laps to go. Fittipaldi now coming up to the back of the 2 Tyrrells. So he'll be looking to find his way through both of the cars, and then maybe he can even somewhat drag them along to the Benetton. And Keiji Matsumoto still running solidly in P3 here today. Just running his own race, is kind of has a similar gap to Prost in front and Fabi behind, so doesn't really have to push too much. Just maintains his pace. He's locked in a solid position here. Fittipaldi getting past one of the Tyrrells now, being Al Unser Jr., and now he is gonna try and work his way up to Michael Andretti. Oh, and a bit of an issue now here. Let's see if we can get him on screen. So Patrick the Wolf is reporting throttle issues. As you can now see, Alain Prost is getting onto the back of him. Alain Prost will come through, but Wolf seems to have a sticky throttle or something going on, as he's running quite slow. Obviously, he might have to be very careful. And he's... oh, is he gonna pull off? He misses a turn a little bit. Oh no, he has to pull over the car, so that's a shame for the Zach Speed team. As the Wolf has to pull over with a throttle issue. The marshals will now clear that car. And that's one unfortunate DNF for the Zach Speed crew. They'd been running pretty well, and something happened to Keiji Matsumoto. I must have missed it. It seems Keiji Matsumoto is now out of the session as well. So one of the minorities now, Matsumoto, running in a very solid P3, now out of the session as well. Very unfortunate. But, unfortunately, we didn't have any footage of Matsumoto making his exit, but might have just been a mistake for Matsumoto that sent him into the barrier somewhere. As Fittipaldi is now trying to make his way past Mario Andretti. He trying to stick his nose up there, and again, not an ideal position to go through, as he'll lose quite a bit of time, but does manage it in the end. And that'll lead Al Unser Jr. right back onto the back of Michael Andretti. Andretti actually now goes slightly defensive, trying to keep Unser behind, so bit of inter-team rivalry perhaps in the Trail squad. Oh, bit of a mistake there. Mistake from Michael Andretti, allowing Unser to come through. A bit of a lockup there for Andretti, and that allows his teammate Unser to come through. So maybe a little bit too focused on the rear view mirrors there, Andretti. But it might be better here for the team, as I'm sure Domi wouldn't like them to be fighting the way they are, or as much as they are. But now looking at Prost, he's actually been lapping quite a bit faster than Emerson Fittipaldi here, so not sure if there will be enough laps remaining. There's about 25 laps remaining, but Prost is catching, so it could become interesting towards the end if he keeps up this pace. But even then, it will be a really hard task to pass, even if he does catch up to Emerson Fittipaldi. Let's check the last laps here. The last laps were actually pretty similar. Just wanting to see here how Prost did on his last lap. It'll take about 20 or so seconds to update, but yeah, very similar pace there for Fittipaldi and Prost. Prost having the slight edge, so maybe Fittipaldi has just been a bit unlucky with traffic so far. And then we have Teo Fabi in third now, so a first and third position here for Ferrari today, which would be wonderful for them if it ends up like this. So 11 runners remaining, I'm pretty sure. Fastest lap time so far for Emerson Fittipaldi, beating Alain Prost by about 0.02 of a second. Oh, throttle issue now. Throttle issue for Thierry Boutsen. So another one of the Zach Speeds in trouble as Alain Prost catches up to him. Alain Prost will be stuck here, so getting a bit unlucky with traffic, but let's see. Can Boutsen get to the pits? Yes, he is going to pull into the pits, so the Zach Speed of Boutsen managing to get to the pits. And now he will come in. They'll slap a new fresh set of tires on and also obviously fix the throttle issue for Boutsen. Let's see how long this takes. Get the fresh set on. 6.9 seconds, so not too long to resolve the issue. Obviously, Hudson already pretty far behind, so it's not like he is going to be fighting for much here, but at least it's good for the Zach Speed crew that they can keep the car running. Now the Benetton of Nelson Piquet slowly seems to be catching up to Theo Fabio. Let's check the last laps. Last lap time, Nelson Piquet a 27.6, while Fabio did a 27.9, so about 30 tenths faster for Nelson Piquet. So we might see Piquet challenging for that P3. Emerson Fittipaldi still with a solid lead, maintaining that gap to Alain Prost. Theo Fabi still running in a solid P3, but Nelson Piquet breathing down his neck. Meanwhile, his teammate Fittipaldi still running in the lead. Very dominant performance so far. You can see now Nelson Piquet closing up. Is within a second or so now. But the question will be, I think the Ferrari does have a more powerful engine, so it will be hard for Piquet to try a move. The Ferrari will surely maintain the gap a little bit on the straights. As you see Mario Andretti there in the background. But Fabi will, of course, try his best to keep this Benetton behind. It would be great for the Ferrari fans to see an Italian driver up on the podium. So Fabi will definitely try and do fulfill that here today. Fittipaldi still running in the lead with about 20 laps to go. Field now pretty spread out except for Fabi and Piquet, who are close together. I think Fittipaldi is now closing up to René Arnoux in front of him. Prost still trying his hardest, trying to catch up. An email there. Congratulations, I've won something. Surely, I've won millions, I think. I'm a millionaire now. Oh, Mario Andretti, suspension issue as he clatters into the barrier. Mario Andretti seemed like a pretty catastrophic suspension error as he failure as he just smacked into the barrier there. So lost control of the car, and that will be the end for Mario Andretti. So similar to last race, a double DNF for the Minardi squad. And that puts us down to 10 runners. Let's hope the rest of the field now can make it till the end. But obviously very unfortunate for the Minardi squad. They were looking strong once again. Not as strong as the previous rounds, but definitely pretty strong. And seems to be a bit hit and miss for them in terms of reliability. Oh yeah, a bit of a shame. Andretti has to drop out now, but I'm sure behind the scenes Minardi are working very hard on getting that car to be decently reliable. And obviously it's a long season, so they have plenty of time to get that car where it needs to be. Now we see Alain Prost catching up to the Ligier of Kazuyoshi Hoshino. And yes, that is gonna be René Arnoux in front of Emerson Fittipaldi there. So Fittipaldi already lapped a big part of the field, and now he's gonna lap the car in the last point-paying position. So again, really dominant there. And so far, Theo Fabi able to hold back Nelson Piquet. Emerson just making his way through the last sector, gaining time on René Arnoux in front. So Arnoux in the last point-paying position. So as it stands, it will be a double point finish for Benetton, which would be very good to boost the morale, I think, around the squad after that disqualification. And then Prost coming up to the back of Hoshino here. Prost will be looking to get through Hoshino pretty quickly. But I say at this point it is pretty unlikely we'll see Prost challenging for that P1 position unless there is some unfortunate event for Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi looking really strong, and so is his teammate Fabi in third place, with Nelson Piquet right behind in fourth. And the season opening rounds have been pretty interesting. Obviously, like I mentioned before, we've had two different winners for the two races so far. So, first race we saw the Minardi and Mario Andretti win. Second race, Alain Prost. It's very possible we might see a new winner here once again in Fittipaldi. And the last two rounds saw a lot of attrition. I think in both races we were down to 6 runners or so, 6 or 7 runners. So yeah, it was full of attrition. It does seem a lot of the cars are holding up better a bit here around Monaco. Obviously the cars don't have to use as much much of the engine, and we might be able to tone down the power output a little bit for this round. And that might help, of course. But yeah, obviously the cars have brought significant power, or not power, but significant upgrade packages to this round. So that is going to play a big factor as well. Now, obviously, not all the DNFs here today were reliability related. So there was I think 2 or so DNFs that just came from driver mistakes. Yeah, Fabi's still doing a decent job as they head into the chicane. PK trying to chase him down, but it does seem Ferrari just has a little bit of an edge on the straightaways, and that allows Fabi to maintain the gap. As you can see, PK closing up through some of the corners here, but he just doesn't have the oomph on the straight to get past. Prost now still working his way up to Hoshino. Oh, and we see now here Emerson Fittipaldi coming through around René Arnoux, so that was a couple laps in the making, but now Emerson Fittipaldi has lapped the last of the point runners. So really well done by him. And obviously Arnoux will definitely be happy just running in the points at the moment, so he won't be too bothered. Theo Fabi still holding back Nelson Piquet. Fittipaldi again, just looking very comfortable, taking control of the race in dominant fashion, and now this last part of the race he just has to make sure to nurture the car and bring it home, get those important points for the well, both driver and constructor championship. Now, Prost is losing a little bit of time here behind Hoshino, so we know the Ligier has decent pace, and yeah, it's not that easy getting past Hoshino here. Theo Fabi still doing an awesome job here, keeping PK behind. Prost now really close to Hoshino, so might see something here throughout the lap where he tries to get past. And we'll follow Prost around. See if that happens. Oh yeah, and we saw a bit of a mistake there actually from Hoshino, slightly tapping the barriers. A bit of a lockup there as well. And that allows Prost to come through pretty cleanly. Still, that gap remains about the same to Fittipaldi, so yeah. I can definitely say now that any sort of fight towards the end of this race is over. And now Prost trying to make his way up to the Tyrrells in front of him, being Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. So both of the Tyrrells just outside of the points. And they'll just be waiting for someone to drop out. And obviously Roberto Moreno for the Arrows is now in P5 as well. So that will be a very decent finishing positions for the Arrow squad. Can pick up 2 points, I believe, which will be very good. Can see in the midfield those times are pretty similar to each other, all lapping around the 29 region. Hoshino now trying to stay in the slipstream, I think, of Alain Prost in front. Prost now catching up at a rapid rate to the back of the Tyrrells. A bit wide there for Fittipaldi. Still doing a good job as he heads into this game again. Running at his own pace, maintaining the gap to Prost, doing everything perfectly so far. Now Alain Prost up to the back of Michael Andretti. He'll be looking to get past Andretti fairly soon here. Just has to make sure he does it cleanly. He's gonna try something here, perhaps. Yep, he is gonna try and send it all the way around the outside. And he does so successfully, but not an ideal position to do the overtake in. And actually, something I can see now is Kazuyoshi Hoshino, so we know Hoshino was running up in P4 at the start of the race until his issue, and has now caught up to the back of Michael Andretti. And Hoshino looking really fast now. Let's see if he can force something here in the next couple of laps. Oh, an issue now, an issue. There's an issue with the car of Nelson Piquet. So reported brake problems for Piquet. And the question is now if he can make it back to the pits, because it's a long way to go. Obviously it's a, he's lucky it's a bit of a shorter lap here at Monaco, but it's only about halfway to the pits now, so let's see if he can make it back, but that will be a big time loss here, and that might see Moreno promote himself up into P4. Yeah, so PK already losing loads of time. He has to be not quite sure what happened with the brakes, but he has to be very, very careful throughout this section. He's going quite slow, so quite a big issue, and that surely Moreno is gonna come through into P4 as PK does make it into the pits. So he'll roll down the pit straight here. He will get fresh tires now, but I have to fix the issue, so stop here. They slap the tires on. He doesn't have to take fuel. 6 or so seconds to fix the issue, so that's not too bad. But it does mean Marino comes out in front, and PK in the last 10 or so laps here will have to put up an immense performance here to try and catch up to Marino. But he does have fresh tires. That could come into play. As you can see now with how much speed he's taking these corners. The low fuel and fresh tires is a good combination here. So Marino or PK will try to get back at Marino. As you can see there, he's already catching up to him. There will be a big difference in grip. Marino has about 5 seconds or so. I'm sure that gap will be diminished pretty swiftly over the next couple of laps. And we'll just keep on board here with PK, I think, to see how fast he catches up. But as we know, as I've said, once PK catches up to Moreno, it will be a really hard task to get past, because Benetton isn't exactly the fastest car on the straight, while the Arrows have a decent power unit in the back. It'll be very difficult for PK to overtake. This would be a very, very good result for the Arrow squad if they manage to hold on. See how fast that gap is shrinking now, as in about 2 laps time PK is already almost up onto the back of Moreno. Just see how much more speed PK is taken into all of these corner entries. And on exit just has so much more grip as well. He's already made his way up onto the back of Moreno now, as you can see. The question is now, can Moreno hold on to this P4 position? We'll see the measure of strength here on the straightaway. See that Arrow's car does have very, very good straight line speed, so if Moreno plays his cards right, he could hold on to this position. And he has to hope that Thierry Boutsen in front doesn't spoil the party too much. You see now through this section here, Nelson Piquet wide onto the back of the gearbox of Moreno, as they're both catching up to Boutsen in front. Tight and twisty in the hairpins, and then down towards the coastline and through the tunnel. Now Moreno still doing a good job here. Oh, suspension issue for Michael Andretti. So Michael Andretti, we don't really have any camera that can spot him, but Michael Andretti dropped out somewhere and with a suspension issue. You can see him getting lifted over the barrier there, but one of the Tyrrells now out of the race. That means we're ending up with 9 runners here so far. Let's go back to Moreno and PK. Moreno still trying to get past, but again, the arrows, decent straight line speed and able to maintain the gap. Moreno doing a amazing job right now, keeping PK behind. And as they're now getting very close to Thierry Boutsen in front, Moreno will hopefully, well, I guess he will hope that he can get past Boutsen fairly cleanly, and then maybe hope for Boutsen holding up PK. We'll have to see here. So Moreno there going through the corners. We know Zach Speed has a pretty good power unit as well. So you can see there Boutsen on the straightaway is able to maintain that gap, but through the corners both the Arrows and the Benetton catching up. At this point, Boutsen has to be careful here as well, because obviously he is a lapped car. But while he can't... Oh! Boutsen with a big mistake there. With a big mistake, Boutsen. Oh, tragic error there from Boutsen through the fast last sector, and he takes off his wheel. So big mistake there, and obviously we haven't seen the reliability attrition as we've seen in the past couple of rounds, but just a lot of driver mistakes here as Monaco really testing the drivers. Throttle issue for Alain Prost. So Alain Prost is reporting a throttle issue. We could see him drop back behind Theo Fabi. Alain Prost is trying to nurse his car back to the pits here. And he does have quite a big gap to the cars behind him, but surely he's not going to be able to hold on to this P2 here today. He might be able to hold on to P3, but tragic here for Alain Prost as he's nursing the car back to the pits. And we'll follow him in. See how the McLaren squad does, but in the last 4 laps here, Prost having to come in with an issue. And they will slap on a fresh set of tires, so he will be able to go insanely fast here towards the end. But if he has to catch P2, that's going to be a bit too much to ask, I think. Oh, a long stop as well, so 8 seconds. Which isn't going to do him any favors. I don't think Moreno is able to catch up, but Prost able to get out in 3rd. But is now surely quite far behind Theo Fabi. Theo Fabi's already heading into the hairpin, so yeah, Prost really far behind, but he might be able to put down some qualifying laps here, as they'll only have a couple of laps of fuel remaining. So he's gonna have to put in some immense laps here to catch up back to Theo Fabi. But Ferrari in a 1-2 position right now, and looking at bagging a lot of points here today. So let's see, yeah, he's 14 seconds behind there, Alain Prost to Theo Fabi, so I don't think there's any way, even with immense laps from Prost, I don't think he will be able to catch up to the Ferraris. Let's just keep an eye on the timing here. So 35.4 seconds behind the leader is Theo Fabi, and let's see how much comes off here for Alain Prost. Yeah, so only gaining about maybe 2 or so seconds a lap, which isn't gonna be enough for Prost to catch up. We will keep an eye on that. But so far, Roberto Moreno still holding back Nelson Piquet. Doing a fantastic job at that. Moreno running in a solid P4 here, and Piquet P5, and then Rene our new P6. So might be a double points finish we see here today for the Benetton squad. Would be a good booster for them as well. I think the biggest booster would be here for the Aero squad, picking up some solid points. And Moreno doing enough to keep Piquet behind so far. And now Emerson Fittipaldi on lap 76. So 2 more laps to go for Fittipaldi after this one. Pick up the victory here today in the Principality. He's looked all out dominant here today, Fittipaldi, so let's hope he can make it back to the end and to the finish line, because he's really deserved it. Now Prost trying to put in the laps of his life, but doesn't look like it's gonna be enough to get up to P2. He is gaining at a rapid rate, but the rate is not rapid enough. Teo Fabi now coming up to the back of Hoshino and what will be Al Unser Jr., I believe. So hopefully Fabi doesn't get held up too much behind these 2 drivers, as that could be detrimental to Prost catching up, as Prost is now within 10 seconds. Only has 2 laps to catch up to Fabi. And then still has to make the move, of course. Now we can see here Teo Fabi still kind of stuck between behind Hoshino and Unser. So see there, Prost actually catching up now, so hopefully Fabi doesn't get held up too much here, because it could actually be close. There's now only about 7 or so seconds between Fabi and Prost. Emerson Fittipaldi now heading into the last lap. Nothing has stopped Emerson Fittipaldi here today, as he's headed towards the finish line. One last time through the hairpins, down to the coast. Then one last time through the tunnel with the roaring Ferrari engine. Surely the fans back in Italy are cheering on Emerson Fittipaldi here and Teo Fabi. Fittipaldi into the last sector. And it's gonna be the first win here for Ferrari. And not at the least, it's going to be a 1-2 for Ferrari here today. Emerson Fittipaldi heads through the last sector. The last couple of corners, just has to nurse the car. Gets around there. Through the last corner, onto the straightaway. And Emerson Fittipaldi and Ferrari will win the first race this season. Their first race at the Monaco GP. So Emerson Fittipaldi and then See there, Teo Fabi with Alain Prost in the background. Fabi not being able to get past Hoshino and Unser here, but Fabi is going to lock in that 1-2 for Ferrari here. So the first 1-2 we've seen all season, and it's going to be for Ferrari. So Ferrari really coming out strong here in Monaco and making up for the past 2 results. Teo Fabi across the line, P2 for Ferrari, a 1-2 for Ferrari with Alain Prost very close behind in third. Unfortunately got that throttle issue
Well done. We're on the podium.
late in the race. And now another great story here. Roberto Moreno in P4 for Arrows will bring it home to the line with Nelson Piquet in 5th right behind. A great job by Roberto Moreno to keep Piquet behind, and good points for the Aero squad.
We're in the point.
And then P5, Piquet. P6 will be René Arnoux for the Benetton squad, so double points for the Benettons as well. And then we have Alonso Jr. just outside of the points for Tyrrell. And then the last runner here today will be Kazuyoshi Hoshino, who valiantly fought his way back up into P8 after dropping to the back of the field at the start of the race. Now, obviously, we will go over the full race results. So here we go, Emerson Fittipaldi finishing in first position, and then look at that, Ferrari 1-2, Teo Fabi doing a solid job, ending up in P2. Alain Prost, unfortunate at the end, but still managing to get that podium. So P3 for Prost. And then 4th will be Roberto Moreno. Once again, also a great performance for the Arrows squad. And then 2 Benettons, 5th and 6th, PK and Arnoux. Then we have Alonso Jr. in 7th, just outside of the points for Tyrrell. Then we have Ashino for Ligier in P8. And for Zach Speed in P9, we have Thierry Boutsen. And then we have Michael Andretti and Mario Andretti in 10th and 11th for Tyrrell and Minardi respectively. Behind them in P12, Matsumoto for Minardi. So 2 suspension failures, and then just a DNF for Matsumoto. That's gonna be a mistake from Matsumoto somewhere. We didn't manage to catch it. So next will be Patrick De Wolf, who had to pull out with a throttle issue. Then the McLaren of Ivan Capelli with an oil leak. And then 2 transmission failures for Mika Hakkinen and Jeff Brabham, respectively. Then we had a water leak for Nigel Mansell in the March, and Jeff Lees in 18th. For the Williams with a suspension failure, Ayrton Senna and Nakajima, both the Lotus cars, out once again with a transmission failure and a loose wheel. And then we have Eddie Cheever for March and Stefan Johansson for the Arrows, that both didn't finish either with a water leak and an error from Stefan Johansson. So again, a very eventful Monaco with a 1-2 for Ferrari, a first of the season. And it was again a great race to watch. So we'll see you next time. As I can't quite recall what race is next, but it should be a very good one, and it's turning out to be a very close season so far, and I'm sure it'll keep exciting us throughout. See you next time.